Al-darar al-ashad yuzalu bi-darar al-akhaf means a greater harm is removed by a lesser harm. The origin of this maxim is the one is afflicted with two calamities where both of them are equal is required to accept either one, but if the calamities are different in degree of harmfulness, then he has to choose the one which is less harmful. This is because doing a haram is not allowed except in cases of necessity permitted under haram. As the previous maxim, the harm shall not be removed with an equal harm, and it means it can be removed with a lesser harm. If not, the objective of harm must be eliminated, cannot be achieved if there is consideration of removing of similar harm or greater than it. For instance, conducting operation, although the person already made known that the operation will fail. Hence, the lesser harm is tolerated in order to remove the severity of the greater harm. Essentially, both of these harms are not equal, as one may be a private harm and the other may be a public harm. Hence, the private harm is tolerated in order to ward off the public harm. It is also due to the degree of the harm. From the both situations are not similar, since one of them may be more severe and greater than the other in terms of magnitude and the other insignificant and trivial. The maxim deliberates on this, whereby it says that severe harm is removed by tolerating a lesser harm. This is the application. Number 1. In a combined property, if the major shareholder wants the division of the property while the other partners would get harmed by this division, in this case, the demand of the major shareholder shall be responded. Otherwise, their harm would be more if not divided compared to his partner's harm through division. Application number 2. When the mother died, it is permissible to take the baby out of his or her mother's womb, because if there is a strong assumption that the baby has a chance to continue his or her life. Application number 3. It is permissible to consume the hazardous drug like morphine if the usage is known that can save the life of the people. Now we go to Dar'ul Mafasid Awla min Jalbil Masalih. It means repelling harm is preferable to securing benefit. When a certain act will result in both beneficial and harmful effects, the magnitude of the effects should be analyzed. If the benefit outweighs the harm, achieving the benefits takes precedence. Conversely, if the harm outweighs the benefit, preventing harm takes precedence. When the benefit and the harm are of the same magnitude, the Sharia gives precedence to prevent harm. Indeed, there is a need to choose between the harm and benefit. Then preventing harm is a higher authority compared to deriving a benefit in most cases, unless the harm can be avoided. This shows that the concern of Sharia for preventing harm is greater than to promote benefit, since harm would bring consequences that could violate the wisdom upon which the Sharia has based itself upon. Thus, if there is a conflict between evil and benefit, then repelling the evil is usually preferred, since refrain from prohibition takes precedence and is much more emphasized compared to implementing the orders as far as Islamic Sharia is concerned. With this, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, "When I command you with something, carry it out as much as you can. However, if I forbid something, it must be shunned absolutely." These are the applications of the maxim in fiqh. Many scholars advise Muslims traveling to the other parts of the Muslim to pray in the way familiar to the people they are visiting. This is especially pertinent when the local people are not aware of the spectrum of acceptable opinions in the Sharia. It becomes even more compelling when, for instance, Muslims from different parts of the world converge on one country to help repel an invader. Unity against the common enemy and avoiding arguments about prayer formats take priority over broadening the horizons of the local Muslims in matters in which a range of opinions are acceptable. Application number 2. The Prophet Muhammad SAW and his companions used to pray in their leather socks, which they wore like shoes. However, the surface of the Prophet Muhammad SAW mosque in those days was pebbles spread on the ground. If a person insists on wearing shoes into a mosque in our time, the average Muslim will almost certainly object on the grounds that they will dirty the carpets. Practicing what was practiced in the time of Sahaba seems to be sunnah, but the sunnah of avoiding unnecessary disputes takes priority over the sunnah of wearing shoes while praying. Application number 3. There are a significant number of hadiths that prohibit Muslims from rebelling against an unjust ruler. Scholars have explained that such rebellion could lead into a more just ruler taking his place, but it could also lead to his replacement by someone worse and just as bad. The process of getting rid of an unjust ruler will inevitably lead to the loss of many lives, mass destruction of property and livelihood, and many other evils. The dominant juristic view is that the certainty of harm entailing a rebellion outweighed the uncertain promise of an improved situation after it, and therefore rebellions against Muslim rulers are prohibited. It is not, however, prohibited to voice opposition to injustice. Doing so may be praiseworthy or even obligatory. And this is the application in Islamic finance. The first is, it is forbidden to finance production or trade of prohibited items such as pop, liquor, and lottery tickets, even though these items are likely to generate considerable profit for the bank. This is because the Sharia gives greater priority in avoiding the harm associated with them than it does to any monetary benefits gained from their sale. A second application of it in Islamic finance, Islamic banks are allowed to rely on debt-based financing as a way to utilize depositors' funds because it provides a safe way of generating reasonable profits for both the depositors and the shareholders. However, the excessive and unregulated use of this mode of financing can lead to a dramatic increase in the amount of debt in the society. Many economists have identified excessive levels of debt as one of the leading causes of the financial crisis that started in 2008. Averting harm of excessive debt takes priority over whatever benefits may be gained from it. Application number 3. Conventional banks provide an avenue for investment and saving. Nonetheless, their activity gives rise to a greater harm through the detrimental impact of interest on the economy and the society at large. Hence, the Sharia prohibits conventional banking activities on the basis of preventing the harm of riba. And last example of application is about logging. Logging of forests is a lawful economic activity. However, excessive logging causes environmental damage. When the environmental damage exceeds the economic benefits, Islamic banks should not finance logging companies. So that's all for this chapter. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.